Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability. Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I'm honored to have a guest with me that I've known for quite a while, and you're finally coming on the show, Cavan Forristt, and it's Forristt Landscape or Cavan Forristt Landscape?
Cavan Forristt Landscape Design.
Okay, perfect. And you, we'll see some of the stuff that you've done in a little bit, but tell us about yourself first and how you got started. Did you start off wanting to do landscape design? And
I'm from the Bay Area. I was born in Palo Alto. I've lived my whole life in San Jose to San Francisco. I went to San Jose State and I majored in art. In the 1980s, I managed an estate in Los Altos for one of the founders of Intel.
I forgot you were in Palo Alto. That's where you were.
Yeah, I was born in Palo Alto.
Palo Alto.
And I grew up in Menlo Park in Palo Alto. And so I got this job to rent an estate up in Los Altos Hills. And I always wanted a gardening job like this. So I lived on this big estate.
And you said in the 80s?
Yeah, it's actually started in 1978, actually.
78, okay.
From 1978 to 1990. So I was there for 12 years.
That was a long time to work for one person, one company.
Yeah, I lived on their property. So I was kind of the gardener, the bookkeeper, I mean the bartender, the tennis court cleaner, the vegetable grower. I got to drive him to the airport. It was kind of like, got to do many different jobs.
So you did it all.
Yeah, so it was nice you never got bored or anything. But
Did you cook too?
I'd help barbecue sometimes for parties, and I'd bartend for big parties.
Because I've heard you're a really good cook.
Yeah, I love to cook. And I build a lot of kitchens into my gardens so people can cook and eat outside.
So that was, wow, so 78, I think I was 12 then.
Yeah, I was 19, I think. I was 19 and they said I was too young for the job, it wouldn't really work out, but I bugged them and they said, well, why don't you come up one weekend and work? So I worked. And then they said, wow, you're a really hard worker. And so I worked another day, and then they said, well, we'll decide, we'll let you know, Monday we'll call you. So I didn't wait, I'm impatient, so I called them Monday, and then they said, we haven't decided yet, but don't call us, we'll call you. So then Tuesday came around, and then so I called them Tuesday. I always called it dinner time. It was before caller ID, so they didn't know who was calling. So I called it dinner time on Tuesday, and then they said, we haven't decided yet, we'll call you Wednesday. Please don't call us, we'll call you, don't call us. Oh, okay, and so then Wednesday I called them again anyway. So then Wednesday they said, yeah, we haven't decided yet, we'll call you Thursday. So on Thursday, they'd said, don't call us, we'll call you. So I called them again on Thursday at dinner time always, so it's a poignant moment. And so then I called them at Thursday, and they said, we haven't decided yet, we'll call you tomorrow, Friday. We'll call you tomorrow, don't call us, we'll call you. I said, okay. So then I called them again on Friday, and they said, we'll call you back in 15 minutes. And they said, okay, the job's yours if you want us. We're really demanding that you can stand us, and I said, you can stand me. And so then.
And this is the founder of Intel.
Yeah, one of the founders, there's three, I won't use his name, but anyway, he was the guy that co-invented the chip. And so I got to live there and work there, so they put me through school.
And how did you find out about it?
It was on a piece of paper on the wall at Foothill College. It said room and utilities for an exchange for a landscape gardener caretaker. They wanted someone to live on the property to take care of the place.
And did you know anything about landscape at that time? Had you done?
Oh yeah, I've been gardening since I was a little kid. Even when I was 3 years old, I had a vegetable garden. I stole all the neighbors' sprinklers in my diapers in Palo Alto. I'd go around the neighborhood, take everyone's sprinklers. And then I always had a vegetable garden. My mom always demarcated a part of the garden to be mine. Even when I was like 5 years old, there was always a part that was mine. My dad couldn't tell me what to do with it.
What did you grow?
Tomatoes, zucchinis. I used to
strawberries.
I'd make concrete. I'd make things and fill them with gasoline and light them on fire. So I was a pyromaniac as a little kid. So I'd always light things on fire in my vegetable area, or I'd paint the fences with gasoline, light them on fire. And so my mom, and only if I asked my mom permission, I could do that day. So my mom gave me a lot of freedom and creative freedom and license as a kid. So I think that carries on to my job today. My clients really give me a lot of freedom, and we agree on what we're going to do, but they're always excited to see what we're going to work and collaborate on together.
Well, your work is amazing. I mean, it's
Thank
just
you.
amazing, and it shows that you love what you do. Tell us about what you do then. Tell us about your business.
So I get a phone call, and then I'll talk to someone, and then I'll go to their house, and I usually tell them to write down a fantasy garden on a piece of paper, but then what's more important is turn the paper over and write your nightmare garden. So I get into the psychology of the garden. I don't really care what we do, but I want to do something that fits the person, fits the person's life, psychology, and what their likes and dislikes. So I pretty much ask what people hate. So I don't do that, and there's a whole broad spectrum of what you can do with what people would like, but also things they don't even know they might like. So I always push the limits, and my clients have said sometimes we thought you'd be difficult because you're really creative. We thought you'd be kind of hard to work with. You're very fluid and very easy, and you really pushed our limits to things that we would like. But it's I never want to be a designer that jams my ideas down the client's proverbial brain or throat or whatever. I'm really open to what, I want to hear what people like. So
let's pull up the first slide here that has some of your work. Tell us about this a little bit.
Let's see, the one on the right is a rain chain from Japan I brought back from Japan. It's an aqueduct that carries water across the yard. It's a very small slot. It's from the second story. You can see the aqueduct, and all the hummingbirds and birds come and drink out of it. So it's kind of a running bird bath.
It's beautiful.
And the water runs down.
And then down below,
down below is my garden in San Jose. I have kind of a timber bamboo jungle. I've got a lot of granite from San Francisco from the '06 earthquake that was dumped out in the Bayfield. So I have all these giant granite columns, and I've let nature kind of run up through the stone findings.
Cool. We'll pull that down, and then we'll pull up another one in a minute. How long have you been doing this, since '78 or longer, you said? Since you were a
probably
kid?
for 35 years.
Wow.
And my employee has been with me for 35 years, since I was 22 and he was 16. So we started working together. He's a Mexican man, and so I took him to Japan to go see Japanese gardens because he would think I was kind of maniacal about stone placement. And so then I said, well, let's go to Japan. There's a garden tour we can go on if you want to go. So I brought my employee to Japan for a 3-week garden tour, and it kind of blew my mind too. Japan was just incredible. Their attention to detail.
Did you go in the spring when it's the cherry blossom festival time, or did you go?
No, we were there in the fall.
In the fall.
And those are considered the decadent seasons, fall or spring, because in the summer it's too hot and the winter's too cold. So the best time to go to Japan is either in the spring or in the fall.
With the fall colors coming out. Mm-hmm. They have the seasons then that we don't have here probably.
But Japan, it's every 3 weeks is another season because it's constantly changing. There's some old Japanese books, and it's like every 2 weeks the garden, there's something going on in the garden. Every day there's always something new, but every 2 weeks there's something new going on.
Let's pull up, I have 2 more slides I wanted to pull up right away with that question. So you've got, is this the same, or is that a different one on the bottom there?
That's a different garden. That's in
so
Los Altos. That's a garden that I use, these old 100-year-old roof tiles from an old Spanish hacienda.
Beautiful.
That was torn down in San Jose. It was an old, the tile came from Mission Tile. They're old hip tiles made off people's hips. So there was an old house they tore down, and I saved the house. I bugged the people for months till they'd let me have them, because they said if you fall through the roof and sue us, we'll lose our house. But eventually they let me have all the tiles off the roof. I took like 15 kids for 2 weeks, 15 high school kids in 2 weeks to descale this giant old house. The house was about 90 years old then.
What about the one on the right? Tell us about that.
The one on the right is for a client in Cupertino, and they're like nature files. They're Chinese, and he's a doctor, and they wanted something.
It's beautiful.
They had a giant McMansion, and the house, it's a giant house, and it had no really
we can pull that down
interesting garden. So they wanted something to do. So I made these big fish ponds that from inside the house it looks like you're on water. So the ponds are like
so it's like an infinity kind of view of the water.
Yeah, so from inside the house it looks like you're on water, and then when the fish jump, you get all these splashings of reflections on ceiling of the house.
It's beautiful with the red splash wall back there, and it looked like it had a little seating place. Let's pull the other slide up too. We've got another slide of more design, and this just looks like I just would want to live in that backyard. Look at that, it's beautiful.